changing our world through storytelling. Knowing you. Nsosha was known for picking quarrels every now and then. He would argue and make one feel less of himself. In a class of 40 pupils, Nsosha had had unpleasant encounters with almost everyone. The recent case that was reported to Mrs. Adiyah drew her attention to the fact that the pupils did not really know who they were. She asked them to remind her to help them identify their temperaments in the next guidance class. Koleki had been looking forward to that class because she didn't understand why people behaved the way they did. She went to the staff common room during the lunch break to remind Mrs. Adiyah of the topic to be treated. On her arrival, she was not surprised to see Nsosha in his element. She asked them to get seated and posed a question to the class. Who are you? Koleki raised her hand and Mrs. Adiyah asked her to speak. She said, I'm a reasonable person, highly principled, calm, controlled, persistent, and steadfast. Mrs. Adiyah nodded and smiled. She asked for more answers. Nyasemhwe, what about you? He stood up and answered, Madam, I'm a serious person, but anxious and unhappy. I don't know why, but I'm always suspicious. Okay, Mrs. Adiyah said, as she nodded. Kotoku, let's hear from you, Mrs. Adiyah continued. Madam, I make friends easily. I am playful. I don't allow what people say or do to affect me in any way, and I'm content with what I have. The actions he added to what he said got them laughing. Mrs. Adiyah shook her head and called Nsosha. He began, Everybody knows that I'm active. I easily get angry, but I'm confident. I like to argue. That's okay. Mrs. Adiyah said, I have a fair representation of what I want to talk about. Human as we are, we all come from different backgrounds. We are all not the same. We are all born with some traits, and the environment in which we find ourselves also play a vital role in shaping us. There are 4 major temperaments I'd like to talk about. You can read more about it and you'll understand better as you grow, especially those of you who would like to study psychology in the university. So the 4 temperaments are sanguine, melancholic, choleric, and phlegmatic. Listening to your answers, Kotoku is a sanguine. Nyasemhwe can be said to be phlegmatic. Nsosha is choleric. And Koleki is melancholic. All these temperaments have their strengths and weaknesses. So let's begin with the sanguines. For the sanguines, with their strength, they are sociable, charismatic, outgoing, confident, warm-hearted, pleasant, lively, and optimistic. But on the other hand, they are impulsive, loud, they exaggerate, and are mostly talkatives. Let's move to the phlegmatics. With their strengths, they are relaxed, quiet, and calm, They are content with themselves. They are kind, consistent, affectionate. They are peacemakers and reasonable. For their weaknesses, they are shy. They are fearful of change, prone to laziness, and non-participative. Melancholics are thoughtful. They are considerate. They are cautious, creative, detailed, organized, independent. But they are also known to be obsessive, too cautious, and difficult to please. Finally, the cholerics. They are ambitious. They have leadership qualities. They are confident, focused, efficient, great in emergencies. They are good at planning. They are practical and efficient. Talking about their negatives, that is their weaknesses. They are aggressive, they are domineering, they are impatient, argumentative, they are low on empathy and intolerant. We need to know these to enable us relate well with others. Our reactions to the actions of others help bring peace. Once you know their strengths and weaknesses, you will appreciate one another better. You also see Nsoshe as an aggressive person, but then he is confident. He has good leadership skills as well. Get to know yourselves and try to work on your weaknesses as you use your strengths well. My dear friends, you are all wonderfully created. Get to know yourself and make a better version of who you are. Let's take note of these few words. Impulsive. Impulsive, spelled IMPULSIVE, meaning acting or done without forethought. Obsessive. Obsessive, spelled OBSESSIVE, meaning the state of an idea or thought preoccupying a person's mind. Charismatic. Charismatic, spelled CHARISMATIC, meaning exercising a compelling charm which inspires devotion in others. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. Your comments are well appreciated. A story a day, changing our world through storytelling.